Good Sunday afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because I'm not exactly feeling all that great. And this is not from my medicine. This is from my nerves just being a little frayed today, mostly because of the four-legged ones. Not just the dog, but baby. Baby is in such dire need of constant attention. And I cannot give the cat, baby, constant attention right now. And the dog is just, he's a puppy. She's a puppy. And right now, I'm having trouble, especially today, dealing with the puppy. One, I kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed anyhow because my wife left the bedroom door open and let the puppy come in to wake me up. And I was not very happy with that because I was tired, I was sore. A lot of little things building up again, and I'm trying not to let them get to me. I'm trying to find ways of diffusing them. But sometimes the demands of life makes it hard for me to diffuse the issue or relax, settle down, get back to the norm. But that's not why I'm on here. I'm not on here to talk about the dog and Jerry or the cat or any other animal or persons in this house. I did not sit back to make a Bible verse of the day. So I just opened up my Bible and I looked for my different markings. Excuse me. Probably should not be burning incense right now because of my bronchial issues. But I opened up my Bible and this was the first verse that I found that kind of... There's two verses I want to read today. Or hopefully try to read both of them today. They speak to me in different ways. And these, if I remember right, my yellow markings were markings that I think these are from my cousin Michelle and her list of Bible verses to read. But this one kind of speaks to me lately because of how I'm trying to change. Let me bring this down a little bit. You don't need to see everything behind me. How I'm trying to change. So this first one is Psalms 15, verse 4. And it says here, "Who despises a vile person but honors those whom fear the Lord, who keeps an oath even when it hurts and does not change their mind." To me, that means basically I took a vow. I took a wedding vow. And a couple years ago, February, I think it was last February, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure those who keep the records of negativity know this, when this happened. But there was a time where I was listening to a lot of vile people. And they all basically were like, well, maybe you should just divorce Jerry. If Jerry, they were basically trying to convince me that I need to divorce Jerry and move on. Well, I took a vow. I took a vow in front of God and my family, our families, in church, in an actual church building. I knew within a year or so of getting married, things were going to be difficult and it might hurt. But it's a vow. Any vow that is spoken amongst people, whether it's a wedding vow, a vow of protection, a vow of basically taking care of somebody else's child, like being a godfather or a godparent, which I'm not Catholic, so I don't have that privilege. Um, but, you know, my vows I keep very close to heart. I try not to break any vows that I make. And, you know, wedding vows are one of those things that are like, I would rather live like they did in old days, the Vikings. Vikings, when they take vows of matrimony, they take it on a sword that is given to the husband by the wife's family. And they both hold the sword, they hold the hilt of the sword while it's pointing down and take their wedding vows. And the reason for the sword was you're making an oath on a family heirloom, basically, of your in-laws. And for at any time, if the wife or husband discovers the other person being unfaithful, that particular spouse, whether it's the wife or the husband, can literally decapitate or murder their spouse for breaking the wedding vows. So that's why Vikings, especially that I can recall, take their vows very, very, very seriously. I mean, literally breaking a vow is literally a death sentence. Or if it's a mutual separation, they have to have reasons for separation and get permission from the families or the chief or the priestess to break the bonds of marriage without murder, basically. And in my mind, this is before I even knew about my Viking heritage. In my mind, because it's a combination of the way I was raised and just the way I believe things, this was, you know, granted, I was a little distraught because I was realizing, well, you know, there's my freedom to do whatever I want, but at the same time, it was just beautiful gestures, beautiful. Everything was just so beautiful in my mind that it was just like, this is like absolute perfection. You know, to me, a vow is something you take seriously. It's not something you just idly make and go, okay, I made a vow, what to do, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. And if I break the vow, oh, well. No. Even pre-Christians, this is written by David. Basically, it's a Psalm of David. He wrote this way before Christianity. I mean, David was basically a pre-Christian, and most pre-Christians were Jewish until Christ was born, and you know, things started to change into Christianity and, you know, things like that. But still, it's carried over through the millennium. You know, it's been happening since Bible days. People make vows and they pretty much keep to them. You know, if they didn't keep to them, there was the fear of being shunned by the church or the temple, basically being an outcast. And outcasts back then, even in David's times, were basically, you know, mistreated the rest of their life in one way, shape, or form. They'd either have to live off the lay of the land and live in the wilderness and hope that their belief in God stuck with them, and, you know, they didn't have to deal with the quote-unquote pagans, the Babylonians and the Romans. I don't think they had Rome. I didn't think Rome was bugging David, but still, the idea of a vow of any form was really, I mean, it was like, you're making this vow, you gotta stick to this. If you don't stick to this, there are consequences. And I mean, that's me. Yeah, okay, there are times where I'm hurting in this marriage, but did I bring it on myself? Did Jerry bring it on me? Am I just being too stressed out by life? Um, don't know. But I will never, you know, purposefully go against a wedding vow. I mean, I don't think anything's going to happen, but I mind my P's and Q's um, when it comes to the wedding vow, because as much as I hurt sometimes and and I'll be honest with you, have a wandering eye, I've never broken wedding vows. I've never, jumped in bed with anybody else, or anything like that, you know. But even a wandering eye can be dangerous. I mean, it can go from wandering to lust. And no, thank you. I've got enough issues in my life. I don't need a third party causing more issues, you know. But wedding vows are just one of many different vows that were taken back in those days. That were hardcore vows. They were like, this is not a game. This is not something. These are not the words that you're saying for this vow is not something they took lightly, and neither do I. One of the things I learned from the Bible, ages ago, is back in the old days, if somebody did harm to a family member, especially murder, and this is for the Jewish people, the people of David's time, they had what they called they basically, if the murderer could not be proven as who done it, the choice was to either make amends in one way or another, or, and I've only heard of it once or twice in the Bible, a kinsman redeemer. And basically what this is a kinsman of the family that was wronged. The family member becomes a kinsman redeemer, and basically what he is oathed to do, I don't know if they took an oath or not, but basically from my understanding is that kinsman redeemer was allowed or could circumvent the laws of the time. And basically that's where an eye for an eye came from, because basically the kinsman redeemer is, I don't know if he's given the permission or the go-ahead to redeem his family by taking a life of the other family of equal proportion. And I don't know how well that would fly in any other tradition or in any other historical event, but history is full of different events that caused a family member or a clan to murder or whatever a clansman from the other clan. I don't see that going well, because all I see that as just families killing each other because of redemption or whatever. I don't know the laws back then. But it's one of those things that just don't feel right to me. And the next verse I want to read is from Psalms 18, and it's basically Psalms 18:2. Yeah, just 2. And this one, I don't remember if this was from my cousin Michelle or not, but this one is something that we as Christians should keep locked away in our hearts. And that one is, the Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Reason why I read that one, not only because it's something that we as Christians should believe in and stand by, but the thing is, even though God is our salvation, basically, He is everything and anything we need, basically, for protection, for salvation, for a wholesome life. Now, I'm talking to you not only just as a backsliding Christian, but somebody who realizes that our world, our universe, however you want to put it, is so big and so full of mystery that, excuse me, only somebody as supreme as God could master its creation. And I mean, you can talk to astrologists, you can talk to scientists, you can talk to just about anybody in this modern day world, and they'll give you a rhyme or reason for why things are the way they are in scientific terms. But most scientists will agree that the idealism of the Big Bang Theory is kind of off. Because, all right, let's say in a scientific view, according to scientists, it takes a lot of pressure and a lot of force to create a galaxy like the Milky Way. And the Milky Way is so vast, and they say it's still growing, that it boggles my mind how scientists can say it was a Big Bang, because according to their explanation, certain elements, gaseous elements and whatnot, had to be compressed, then exploded outwards to create something like the Milky Way. But the Milky Way, according to scientists, is still expanding. Now, this is my question, and nobody's been able to really answer this question. If scientists are correct that it took force to create the Milky Way, a force that exploded and expanded into what we now call the Milky Way. Well, if space has no gravity, which means no force to cause these elements to collide and become a galaxy. So if scientists are like, well, it was the force of an exploding star or something like that, or the reverse idea of a black hole, because a black hole sucks everything in and basically destroys it. But either way you look at it, what caused such gravitational forces in a void of gravity to collide, making our little corner of the universe, our little corner in the Milky Way? Explain to me. You're talking about forces of nature colliding together in a void of zero gravity, zero cosmic, zero gravitational forces. Come on, science. Explain to me how that happened in a void. And I don't mean just a void as in like a black nothingness. I mean a void as in no gravity. Because in order for things to collide, you have to have some sort of force bringing it together. But nobody can explain what the force was. They cannot explain with a definite, non-arguable theory of how our corner of the universe, our little galaxy, nobody's able to explain it scientifically. Yet they don't want to say God was the one who did that. They want to find some sort of non-religious or non-supernatural entity that has the power to do such a thing. But they want to say it was gravitational forces. I if it was gravitational forces, that means that there's gravity out there in space, but then you want to turn around and say there's no gravity out in space. It's a void. Nothing can breathe. Nothing. There's no oxygen. There's basically whatever forces they're talking about. They can't even explain that. You know. But I'm not against it because, yes, scientists can make things easier to explain, but they cannot draw an end conclusion. All they can do is draw up theory. Well, hell, if that's the case, I've got theories up my butt about a lot of different things, but that doesn't mean it's right. That does not mean it's the only answer. But it's just crazy. So I'm gonna leave. Whoops. I'm gonna put my bookmark here. I'm going through just pulling out Bible verses right now. Psalms. I have no base plan. I'm just going to be going through this current Bible, which is my Everyday Men's Bible, and read that to you guys, and then give out my point of view or my opinion. I am, how do I put it? I am slowly trying to get things organized. Today was kind of, because I have to work later on. Here in about an hour and 45 minutes, I have to be at work. I am right now kind of in that I want to do a lot of different things, a lot of different projects to get everything settled and clean, and hopefully before we go on our cruise, there's nothing left to clean. It just maintaining it. I don't know if that's going to happen. I would love it to happen. The thing is, trying to get up early enough where I'm not cranky or sore or still tired, and do what I can on the days that I work, and then on my weekends trying to cram in within Friday and Saturday, and maybe, Sunday morning, unless I change my schedule. But I will continue to do Bible verses on Sundays. Hopefully during the weekdays, I can actually start creating some sort of working list or doing a lot of research and cross study to create I don't want to say sermon, because I'm not a minister. I'm just I want to say I'm a misguided Christian, but it's more like I'm a Christian with a broader view of life and all the intricacies, Christian and non-Christian, and sometimes, depending on my brain and whatnot, depends on what I feel like talking about or what I'm doing, because I have so many different interests, and I think what I need to do is I need to settle myself down and take one of those interests and just run with it until I'm done, or until it becomes, I don't want to say moot, but it becomes to the point where I have nothing else to say about it. Life in itself, whether you're Christian or not, can be quite disturbing or chaotic. And I think what's been happening with me is I have been getting so stressed out, even by little things, that that other part of my brain, that chaotic bipolar part of my brain, um, wants to take over, and everything just becomes crazy. And I think that's what I'm working on, is to try to control that, to try to keep the highs and lows to a minimum. Um, Sorry, my nose is itchy. But yeah, I'm trying to make it through. I'm trying not to let my stressors take over. And the one suggestion that was given to me was to basically, when you start feeling like you're losing it, you're getting too upset or too manic, to basically just leave the room, leave the situation, go chill out, come in here, journal, read, whatever. I just need to learn how to focus that time frame, or that energy that's coming out, into something a little bit more positive, by either reading the Bible or journaling something positive, or just do something that changes things to a positive energy or a positive baseline. And I'm not gonna fool myself, let alone fool you guys. It's not easy. It really is not that easy. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, that's easy. You just go off into a room by yourself and meditate." Well, when your energy becomes to that point of, you need to leave the situation so you can reverse your mentality. Sometimes it's not just easy to come in and meditate. It's like, you literally, I come in here and I just sit quietly and try to get my thoughts straightened out, and maybe do a quick journal or anything like that. And then it's like, okay, I'm feeling better. Let's see if I can deal with the situation a little bit better. And I mean, it is literally a daily struggle for me, because if I wake up, whether it's by an alarm or by my own internal mechanisms, I still wake up hurting. I still wake up with aches and pains. And there's not much they can do for me, except for give me a bunch of exercises to do at home, which is like, that's great, but when am I going to have the time to put that into my daily routine? So it's one of those things. It's becoming like, am I blaming the dog? Am I blaming my physiological issues? Am I blaming the bed? I mean, who's at fault for my aches and pains? Well, I know if I had not done what I did back in New York to cause the whole situation, I probably wouldn't have these problems this early on. Who knows? But I can't blame the dog. You know, she doesn't know. You know, she's trying to be up close to mom and dad while we sleep. I wish she would understand and stay in her bed at our feet, instead of wanting to be in between us, either by our necks, you know, our shoulder area, or by our lower back. So I can't fault the dog. It's not Jerry's fault. Jerry tries to help me out when she can with my back. I have all kinds of back on, you know, icy hot, and then lidocaine ointment, and, you know, just everything I can think of to help my body out. But sometimes it's like putting a Band-Aid on a dam that's about ready to break anyhow. But I don't go around, you know, using my back pains or my knee pains or my leg pains or my feet pains or ankle pains or any of that stuff as a crutch. I go, okay, yes, I have these pains that I got to deal with. how can I deal with them without like disrupting my life, you know? So it's one of those things where it's like, I've had many people say that I could probably use the chronic back pain as a way to get Social Security, medical funds or whatever. Basically, some easy way out of basically an easy way to start retirement early. And I'm like, the day that I cannot get up out of the bed because my body is just so shot and I feel like I'm paralyzed from the waist down is the day I will think about that. But until then, I'm gonna be like my dad. I'm gonna die fighting. I'm gonna, dad kind of did fight for a while, but then he let go towards the end. But no, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna do something like that unless it's absolutely, utterly necessary. Because, yes, all right, I worked 25, 30 years off and on. Besides that, if the government keeps, well, I don't know what the government's doing anymore when it comes to Social Security, because Mom's gotten more from the Social Security office, and Jerry's got a supplement that basically, depending on how much I make, depends on how much she gets per month. So it's only like one of those, how do we do this to make ends meet, basically. Because I'm afraid that if I retire at an early age, I'm not going to get my full benefits anyhow. I'm just going to get maybe, a couple $100 a month, which probably won't be enough to help cover, both, all our expenses. Excuse me. But anyhow, one of the things somebody told me is I gotta stop worrying about what I don't have. Be thankful for what I do have. And I'm like, well, yeah, I understand that. But sometimes when you've got dreams and plans, you kind of, especially for me, I'm not a patient person. If there's something I know I want and I can get it with very little difficulty, I want to go for it. I want to just go grab it and run. But I realize that, I have all this equipment for, camping. I can easily sleep in the back of the van during the colder times of the day or year. And then I have a tent that I could pitch and sleep in for the warmer times of the years. But I'm also thinking, I don't know about the tent situation anymore, because my body is so, it has a hard enough time getting up out of the bed, let alone trying to get off the ground. And I'm like, I don't know. The idea of going camping and using the van as a camper is one thing, because it's like you can't keep all your camping equipment in a vehicle if you're sleeping where all that equipment is. So the question is, how do we deal with that equipment? Now, what I would like to do is I'd like to be able to get one of those hardcover thingies on top of the van to keep most of the camping equipment in, and then the only thing to have in the actual van is the bedding, the sleeping equipment, the sleep gear. But that, that's an idea that I haven't, I don't know if I threw it out there to Jay or not. But anyhow, yes, next Sunday will be, maybe even Wednesday. I might do Wednesday Bible chat. But we will see how this week ahead of us goes and see how many times I can sit down and do a video. So that's that. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the question comment area. And then I'll see those as they pop up, and I'll try to get to them before the end of the day or before I go to bed. If you're not a subscriber and you want to be, you can hit the little subscribe button, and once you do that, a little bell will pop up. Click on that bell, and YouTube will notify you when I do a video or publish a video. So until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.